And welcome to Blockbuster Bums. Kick back your recliner, crack open a beer, and let's talk movies. And today, we'll be discussing No Time to Die, the final, at least for now, installment of the Bond franchise. So, yes, we have reached the last movie in the Bond franchise. It's been a long journey up to this point, but we have gotten here. So, No Time to Die is our next movie, last installment as of now. Also, the last, I think, forever Daniel Craig version of James Bond. And as you can see, four of us are here. We left an empty seat there for Wade. Yeah, just because
We lost him.
Yeah,
Lost him.
it's a terrible tragedy.
Yeah.
He'll be here in spirit
In spirit for Daniel Craig.
while he lays in his house down
Tom's
the street.
indifferent.
Yeah, it is what it is. Fine.
Well, anyway, Ray, would you like to give us a synopsis of the movie?
Why, certainly. James Bond is enjoying a tranquil life in Jamaica after leaving active service. However, his peace is short-lived, as his old CIA friend Felix Leiter shows up and asks for help. The mission to rescue a kidnapped scientist turns out to be far more than treacherous than expected, leading Bond on the trail of a mysterious villain who's armed with a dangerous new technology.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ray.
Sounds serious.
It does. All right, well, let's get to it. Tom, what did you think of your rewatch of No Time to Die?
Honestly, I didn't mind. Like overall, I think I did enjoy it better the second time around, and I don't know. I think I came away with a different appreciation for it overall. Like in all honesty, so I really have like overarching story things that like I nitpicked over, but like as a whole, not bad.
All right. Barry, what did you think of your watch of No Time to Die?
Similar to Tom, I suppose. I think there's a lot to enjoy about it. I thought, a lot of good came from it. However, some of the overarching ideas that really are the basis of the movie, I kind of found perplexing, and I can't say that I'll ever be a fan of certain things that the movie did. It was entertaining, so I don't hate it, but I questioned some of it.
Fair enough. Ray, thoughts?
My first watch back in the day, whenever it came out, I enjoyed it. This time, a whole lot less than before. I don't know when MI6 started becoming fucking morons. I guess it's when Judi Dench died, but they were on down here fall for that. The villain, I feel, is like nothing more than maybe head henchman at most. His base is pretty much a pharmaceutical company with poison. He really didn't create a weapon. He stole it. He's kind of a bitch. The writing was very convenient and lazy. The cinematography is always on point with the locations and stuff. But
Yeah,
I felt like the script just got super lazy, super convenient. Like everybody just wanted to clock out at 5 o'clock and go hit the bar. But, I mean, there are some parts I'm sure that I enjoyed. But when I was watching this, I was like, fuck, what the fuck is going on all of a sudden? So, yeah,
Well, that was very negative, Ray.
thank you.
My rewatch of this movie was up and down. I do think there are some things with this movie that were done very well. I do think there are things that no matter who explains it to me or how many times I watch it, I'm not going to like. And I also think that when you look at the Craig movies as away from everything else, I think you can have maybe a better appreciation for it, but obviously that's not what I'm doing, having seen the other 21 Bond movies. And I could see what they were trying to do. I just wasn't a huge fan of it. And it did kind of follow like a natural hero's journey with it. We've seen countless times in other movies and other stories over the course of our lives, I'm sure. So like I said, I was very up and down with it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm just somewhere in the middle. So I guess that being said, it starts off with a flashback to Madeline's childhood.
Yeah, like a horror movie scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
it was
liked
solid.
that.
Yeah, the opening was decent.
Yeah, it's pretty different. It kind of reminded me of Octopussy a little bit. They have that horror scene in there where
Oh yeah.
the agent's going through the woods. I don't think it's Bond at that point.
No.
And he's in the clown costume and he's being hunted by the twins with knives or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, reasonably good opening. And it was a long opening. I think it was like 20 minutes in before we got the
Oh yeah. Well, the whole like opening sequence from that to when you meet up with Bond is like 30 minutes almost. It
Yeah.
kind of felt like.
lot going on there.
But like I said, it makes sense for what it is because really this is really her story. Like at this point, we've already like kind of seen Bond and everything. This is more like her story, and her like backstory actually leads to the overarching like he was saying, the hero story of it all. From even like the first Bond to this one, and it's what wraps it all up. But yeah, but like I said, but once again, like I said, it shot very well. Like I loved the whole snow
Oh,
scene and
yeah.
everything. Like how old boy walks real slow and methodical and all. And like I said, like Barry says, like you get that terrifying feeling, like oh, a little kid and everything that like just was told this by their drunken mother and everything, and then like seen a gun under the cabinet, and then this shit happens. Like that does come across like terrifying and all. Like, and then you fall through the ice and get saved by the person and all that. Like,
Yeah, that was the first perplexing thing in this movie, which there's a lot of perplexing things in this movie, is I guess the manner by which Safin decides he's going to save this girl and why he chooses to save this girl. And he was pretty, he was saving her. He was, if he happened to shoot her, so be it. It wasn't like, I don't know, it was a very strange scene, where it leaves you guessing what is this person's.
oh, I took it as like he was actually saving her. To where, because you could see when it was going through, he could have aimed right at her and all that. But I think we just, from that angle that they shot it, you just seen how it was coming. And from a side profile, it looks like it's coming dead onto the person. But like, I think the intent always was to shoot around the eyes to reach in and save her and all.
Even
So
though
like
he,
a Warner Brothers cartoon.
yeah,
Yeah. Like I said, very impractical and all that. But like,
even though he should have killed her, but then that's where this convenient writing starts to plunder and plunder down the
It could have
road.
gone bad if he gotten a saw out. Then he would have actually been the one to have fallen.
well, I think what it really kind of shows you in the story is like, did he do it so he could like pull in a favor from her, manipulate her later on,
And yeah,
or did he do it because it was an actual like shimmer of humanity and into like, oh, I don't want to see a child drowned, or like, even though this person killed my whole family, it was like her father that did it, not this little girl who's like, I could watch drown, or I could just coup de grace right now. Like it's one of those things. It leads you, the viewer, to kind of make it up.
That's the way I looked at it, was the latter there of, he was there for revenge because somebody killed his entire family. And my thought process was, well, he's looking at this like, you assume that there were children in his family that were killed. So like, he's looking at this like, am I going to do the same thing this person did to my family? No, I killed a grown adult, but like, I'm gonna save this child. I guess I'm having second thoughts. That's the way I looked at it. Obviously, we don't know for sure.
I mean,
Yeah, like I said, like I said, it leads you to the viewer to choose.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
what it is. Like, did he do it for benevolent reasons or for manipulative? Because, like, hey, I can use this person to pull in a favor later because I didn't.
He's
get
got
her.
some real foresight if that's the idea.
Well, but he's already.
That's what, yeah,
but
that's
he's
what
already-
I'm saying.
But he's
yeah.
already went this far, and he even has an organization that we'll talk about that even is over Spectre, and then is over. Like I said, it's always in the background from the very beginning of the Craig series, but you don't reveal that until this movie with her backstory.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with what you just said because obviously it's true. But at the same time, we're talking about like 20 years. Like,
Yeah, well,
he's like, I'm gonna 20 years from now, I'm gonna ask this broad for a favor because she's
But,
gonna
like,
be important in
But
some
he,
way.
he hadn't killed her father till then. So
well,
like I
it's
said,
no less of a contrivance
but-
than her ending up as the only person Blofeld will talk with.
well, but that's
Anyway,
what.
I'm being a jerk.
Yeah,
I mean, that's odd.
But like I said, she is useful and everything and all that. And he is still like after her father. Like he isn't dead at that point. So it's like, why not save her and use her as some type of bait then?
yeah.
Like
Now bait that would be different. Yes, I think bait is legit. Like he might
But
might
that-
be thinking
but it's
that I
still
could use her as
foresight, 'cause
bait.
Like I said, even in that house, he didn't kill her. He only killed the mother, and now he's rescued the daughter. He didn't get his mark. Like, so why wouldn't you save her for bait?
No, that's what I'm saying. I said
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know that he was
that's
thinking
what-
20 years from now I'm gonna ask her for a favor, but using her as bait does make sense. Like I can do that at any point.
But he still used, like I said, any point, even 20 years in the future, which he does. Like, he used her as like even a weapon. Like,
I mean, he used her as a weapon, but not necessarily against
Yeah.
the people he thought he was going to.
no, but still,
I mean, not his
useful.
dad or
But-
her dad. I mean,
but still useful because of what he did and how he saved her.
Yeah.
Like that was the purpose of like we'll talk about when he presents her the box and everything.
well,
Like,
yeah, but
it's about
no,
like,
she didn't do it because of a favor, though.
no,
She did it
but-
because he threatened her.
yeah, there's
Like-
there's an obligation. Like there's an unspoken obligation. Like
No, I mean, I'm going to kill your daughter
Yeah.
if you don't do what I ask. It had nothing to do with the favor at
well,
that point.
and he knew that. Well, she knew that. Like the severity and everything. Like because of their past. Like I said, there was no saying no. Like you said, it
Right,
was like
yeah,
I'm
they
going
were-
to do this or kill your daughter. You're obligated now to do this just because I have verbally asked you. You have no choice in the matter.
and she's living in the same house
Well, that's
he
more
went
than
to
a
kill.
That's more than a request.
Yeah, but
Did
you
refer
masked
to
it.
a threat of murdering someone's child as a request.
It's masked. It's very
Funny.
it's very
Just
it's very-
ask.
yeah. Well, but like I said, it's like there's an under conversation that's being had. It's like, hey, I'm asking, and you can say the
You
words
could
no,
say no.
but like I said, but there is an under implication of that as well, which is the death of your child.
Well, sure. That's going to play a role.
Like I said, but that's what it is. That's
That's going to factor into my thinking.
yeah, but that's what we were seeing play out. Like I said, that was the subtext of the conversation. That's why you see like the fear in her face and everything and all that. Like it's like because like her acting is supposed to show like the nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I will say I'm not mad about it, but I did not expect the opening scene to have this much conversation about it. But it was an interesting opening scene, and I do agree with you, Tom. There is at least a good portion of this movie that is more her than Bond.
Well, like I said, or even like how they come out of that sequence is a great shot, which comes up out of the water. Like that was cool. And even like Bond, even seeing her, like, so where'd you go? Like, you know, because even he, like, with his own like past, knows that look to where like, yeah, that's trauma. What happened there? Like he recognized something in her even at that.
What do you think of that relationship overall? The Bond, what's her name? Not
Madeline?
Matilda, Madeline. Thank you, Matilda's the girl, or Matilde, whatever. What do you guys think of that relationship? Did you buy it? Because in Spectre, it was kind of, you know, it wasn't really,
Fleshed out.
yeah. Do you think they get there in this movie? I like it. I think it's a good relationship dynamic. I don't know that I really want that so much in my James Bond
Right,
movie.
exactly.
It
But
made Bond too vulnerable.
Yeah.
Well,
Way
here's
too
here's
vulnerable.
here's my thing though. I think Barry's original question and the fact that we don't like it muddles it for us. But I think you have to, if in order to answer Barry's question honestly, you have to remove the fact that we don't like it. Because I don't think anybody in the room is rooting for Bond to be married and have kids
No.
and like have a big love story. I think we're all like, no, that's not who James Bond is. I mean, am I wrong? We all think that.
Like for what it is, it worked.
Yeah.
For in some way or form.
Yeah.
But for the character of Bond, it made him too vulnerable, and it made him kind of like come down a couple notches as an agent, which we've known to know throughout all these like 26 movies. You know, it kind of dumbs down Bond like 3 or 4 steps from the other versions that we've seen already.
I agree with that, but I have a different question. If we hadn't seen Bond, and I'm talking like in the past, other movies, if we hadn't seen Bond do this multiple other times, like quit MI6 to be with a woman, blah, 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 do you think we would have reacted as poorly to this story? Do you think that this was new? I'm asking before I say anything myself.
I mean, I still view it as the point of view that it's, in my view, it's not really a James Bond film. It's her story, and because James and her are together, he's kind of like along for the ride, protecting her and cleaning up her mess.
I don't disagree, but I guess what I'm saying is though is if we hadn't seen him fall in love and quit MI6 and then have to come back to MI6 because it doesn't work out all those other times before, do you think you would have felt differently about it this time?
But like I said, that's not why I don't like this film. Because like I said, we've seen that before so many times. It is old hat. And yes, when I've seen it in the past, like I didn't like it because that's not what I want in the James Bond. I don't want my James
I agree.
Bond. I don't want my James Bond to be a family man.
Right. Right. No, I agree
Like
with that.
I want him to be family friendly and like gentleman like and all, but I don't want him to be a family man.
Yeah, my thing with the James Bond, the love interest is I'm happy with it being in a movie, but I don't want the premise of the movie to be about that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It should be kind of like tangential, and yeah, it matters within this movie, but it's not the be all end all of like the plot and all of that. I just, that's not what I want for my Bond movie.
I think there are certain characters in movies and books, whatever, just literary characters that just have no business settling down. You know what I mean? Like, how would you feel if Pale Rider all of a sudden was married and having kids and like just happily ever after?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if people have watched like Supernatural, like Sam and Dean Winchester, they have no business settling down and at the end and being family men.
Right.
No, because it makes no sense.
Yes, exactly. And I think James Bond falls into that category. Yeah. This isn't who James Bond is, and at this, even if they're playing old James Bond, which is what these last 2 movies were, like end of his career Bond, essentially, he has no business trying to find love and retire and have children and be happily ever after, because essentially it's just an impossibility.
Right.
Now, see, if he didn't have a kid, I could probably get past it a little more, because she's at least trained at a little bit of everything.
She's not Tracy. She's not helpless. I agree with you.
Yeah.
She has skills and everything. Them being okay, I think as far as couples go, she fits the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as anybody they've tried to hook him up with in the past, because she's been involved with Spectre. She's lived in that life and she, like you said, she can handle herself.
Yeah, she can survive.
She has trauma like he does. Like, there is like a lot of they have in common. There's a lot that she could be useful for, things like that.
It also implies that James Bond is the only caliber of man that could be with a woman like that. Like that's another because like she has all this like that she's got as her backstory, but only somebody as competent and like was it James Bond-esque can like be with her to lead and to deal with that bullshit.
Well, good on him.
Oh yeah, I mean he paid. Like I said, but like Alex talked about, it was like it is the hero story where he paid for it with his life, and then like he got a child out of it. Like that is the storyline arc of the hero story. The hero dies and the new one rises. Like I said, nobody likes to see their hero die. Like, and I think that's what we all hate and is shitty about that type of archetypical storyline.
I will say this though, I agree with you. Nobody likes to see their hero die, but we've seen it before, and if done well, can be all right. If you told me that this was the last Bond movie ever, and he dies on his last mission, but the mission succeeds, I could totally get on board with that.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, if it was the last Bond movie, yes. But
yes, but 5 seconds after you watch him die, it says Bond will return.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, okay.
yeah, that's silly to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, I can't. I just can't get on board with this movie generally because of that decision.
Well,
And the idea that that Rami Malek gets to do it. We don't even let Blofeld kill Bond.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's Freddie Mercury. Come on.
Freddie Mercury. I will say this: I think he did a good job, though.
That's Freddie
Got an
Mercury. Yeah.
interesting
Well, I don't know more about Freddie Mercury. I'm saying as Safin, I think he did a good job as Safin.
Yeah.
He was weird. He was off-putting. He like you said, he could do scary even at certain points. You know, he did the whole like like cold-blooded killer part. Like he played a bad guy well, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
He played
Plus
a
the
weirdo
weakling.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, also a bad guy. I
I
wasn't
feel
trying
like
to.
Cyclops stole the show, though. Like,
Oh, Primo.
yeah, that's it, Primo. Like,
Yeah.
I
That
love that
henchman.
that fucking jacket. Like,
We're
that's-
jumping ahead on stuff big time, and that's fine. It doesn't. But since we
just
touched
talk.
on it, I
Like,
mean,
yeah. We've touched on
so
everything,
Bond
Barry.
dies at the end of this movie. I mean,
Yes.
we touched
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. We touched on it.
let's
Yeah.
not-
Spoiler alert.
yeah. The way he died looked really cool.
It did.
The idea though that this Safin character though gets to be the one to kill James Bond, I got a
Yeah.
real problem with it. I'll just leave that there.
Well, I guess here's my other thing. While we're talking about Bond's death, how would you have felt if he didn't die, but because of that stuff he has on him, I can't remember what it's called now, but the stuff he has,
Nanobots.
the nanobots, yeah, because of the nanobots, he has to stay away from Madeline and his daughter for the rest of his life. How would you have thought? Because I think that would have been a better ending. Like he could go on, be James Bond, go back to MI6, work and do his job, but he can never be around them again for the rest of his life, and he has to deal with that pain.
I would have tolerated the ending better.
Yeah,
Because like I said, it would like the James Bond will return. I'm like, all right, like, and like I said, it's a good way to write off those two characters where you don't see them. You just know they're in the background and like they could be pulled up and everything. Is like, oh, like we've got them as hostages or some shit.
yeah,
Like,
it could be something like that, or it could be something like you see, like
Yeah.
M said, M at one point just has a throwaway line where it's like, oh, do you want us to wire money to Madeline, or do you want, whatever the case. Hey, I saw that you're. Whatever, I can't remember the daughter's
Yeah, just
name.
leaves the
Your
door
daughter graduated high school today. Congratulations, or whatever. Like
Yeah, I don't see. I would have. That's kind of weird. I don't know if I'd be down with that.
you don't think it'd be better than him just being dead?
I think it was better he went out that way because the whole movie is kind of crappy for me.
I like.
Well, the
it.
movie's crap, so kill the character.
Yeah, this
Speaking
fucking-
of crappy, potentially, I don't know. What do you guys think of the nanobots thing? And if this was a Roger Moore movie featuring a plot with nanobots, would you guys be saying this is some silly
Yeah.
crap?
But
Just asking.
It just gives me Moonraker vibes.
Okay.
That's what it is. To where it's like I mean, don't get me wrong. I can get into the premise because of knowing it and everything, and they did a decent job explaining it and stuff for the viewer, I think. But it is one of those things where like, all right, but it's just so out there to where like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I do think Tom and I had a small conversation about it, and he might disagree with me from what I remember from the conversation. But does it take away from Safin that he didn't do it himself? Like, he just stole it from MI6?
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, pretty much he's just a pharmaceutical rep, kind of peddle it around. He's like, okay, let me see if I can get a doctor here, and then let me steal the doctor here, and then I got my pharmaceuticals, and we put it together, and we got us a big fucking money train, and
I guess when you say that, what do you mean by that?
Like, I guess what I'm saying is like,
do you mean like it does he seem less menacing, less dangerous? Like, what do you mean?
well, he's still. I mean, no matter how you got a hold of it, if you have a weapon of that caliber, you're obviously dangerous. So
That's what
I
I
don't think
mean.
it makes him less dangerous. I guess I just respect him less. I guess is
Yeah.
a better way to
Less
put it.
Enterprising.
But I guess where I'm going with is like, so like I said in plots past, when they try to steal the nuke, do you see that as more of like a highbrow type crime, or are they more menacing in some way? Like,
No, but I mean, we've also.
yeah, does that like
That's the classy shit.
like because
Yeah.
this is nuclear, it's better than
No.
like
I don't
biological
think.
or
I don't think stealing nukes is that way. Is that either? But like we've seen lots and lots of Bond villains that their contraptions or their
They develop-
world domination they developed
Yeah,
themselves.
I get
Even
you.
even in a goofy movie like Moonraker, the dude developed a whole
that's-
space thing in a space world.
Well, but that's what I said with that. His was to like, but remember, it was about finding that plant enzyme or whatever,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
sterilizing humans.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's why I said it gave me Moonraker vibes because, like, oh, they're trying to like alter people's like DNA basically with the nanobots, like this guy was trying to do with like the flower and the pollens and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So that's what I mean. I was like, we have seen. It's just an echo of what we've seen, really.
Yeah.
It's just like now it's not natural; it's artificial.
They should have come up with a way for him to come up with this weapon on his own, because by him stealing from MI6,
But that's what the guy with the
that
flower
fucking
did,
shits on
yeah.
MI6 once again and knocked him
Yes.
down 50 pegs once again. And they're just like, okay, here's shit Bond, 5 pegs down. Here's shit MI6, 5 pegs down. And it just shits all over it.
This is like the third time where we've watched MI6 just completely be
They're very-
inept
yeah.
throughout a movie.
Well, beyond
Yeah.
that, it turned MI6 and M basically into bioterrorists, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're developing this terrible technology to just utterly destroy humanity.
Well, what is that called, Ray?
That's-
Gain of function technology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, waiting for a Fauci joke here. Like,
It's almost like it's bad.
yeah, it's almost like
that,
it should be
yeah.
illegal, and there's laws wrote against it. And
Yeah. So what did you think? Okay, let's talk about this for a second because as far as people in the movie go that we see, Bond is the first one to figure out that it's MI6, and he is a dickhead to M about it.
Which
he
he
should
should be.
No, he should be.
Yeah.
I
But
love
here's the thing, though.
is this
What
death
do you
getting
think?
bigger, or are you getting smaller? Like,
Yes, that was good.
I
but,
loved it.
But what do you think of Bond keeping the secret? Like, he didn't even tell the new 007. He didn't tell Q. He didn't tell any of them.
Well, he had to. He can't trust anybody at this point.
And I think he always trusts Q.
Well, probably Q, but I mean, at this point, when this big a thing got out, you got to keep that to yourself and try and figure it out on your own.
well, and I think it also showed the severity of it, to where
Yeah.
like I can't, like nobody else, like I said, can handle this nonsense. Like he knew that he was gonna go do something for this. Like he wasn't gonna like let like the new 00 and everything and all. And like I said, these people are he's surrounded by ineptitude. Like it is like basically we're like looking at like a good thing of to where like yeah like nobody here is competent, like
Yeah.
it's pretty much like me now having to clean up your bureaucratic mess because you thought you were going to make something that you thought was so great and grand that you couldn't control and all if it got out. Like it's a nice little story, you know, but I mean yeah like the way he like he was never going to tell anybody. Like
Yeah, I never considered that much what his reasoning was for that. I just take it as Bond isn't the sort to share
well and him
information that he doesn't
well, it's
absolutely
no
have
one-
to. I guess
no
that
one
thinks
else
he can
is-
handle it
yeah.
himself. Yeah.
Well,
no one else
I-
is on him and M's level.
I
Like,
agree, I
M's there
agree
at the
with you,
clearance.
Tom.
He's there because of who he is.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but Barry touched on something very important a few minutes ago of like this is like world destruction, the end of the human race level stuff. So if only I know about it and something happens to me, which does end up happening by the way, just late enough that he fixes the problem 1st, then nobody knows about it except for the guy that created it again. And M was keeping it quiet after he knew that somebody stole it. So right or wrong, I guess I think Bond was wrong in what he did, but it is a Bond thing to do.
Well, it's also one of those bits of information you just can't tell normal people.
We definitely can't tell normal people, but,
But
like,
that- but-
but like
but I'm
Money,
saying
Moneypenny and
there-
Q and stuff, they work for MI6
But
as well. They're
like,
not normal
no,
people.
like not even like there's like I said there's whole like classified information that you just can't tell. Like even the fact that Bond stumbled upon it and can have the conversation with M, that even shows why he didn't tell anybody else. Because even Bond knew the severity of the level of knowledge he has.
What about Felix? You think he could have told Felix?
Yeah, probably. But he was
I
he
think
was
Felix is
compromised.
the last person he would tell about. Are you saying about telling about MI6 being involved?
Yeah, that we created it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he would ever tell Felix.
I mean,
think
probably
there's
not,
a loyalty
but he
there,
could
too.
have.
I think some of it's just loyalty to MI6.
It could be. That very well could be.
Part of it, I think.
So you think his loyalty to MI6 is bigger than his loyalty to Felix?
Oh yeah, I think he would have
Yeah,
felt if he was
I think that.
being traitorous to his nation. I believe if he told Felix,
You think it would? You think it? Oh,
I think that's how he'd view it. Yes.
you think it'd be like treason?
Yeah, I think that's how he would see it.
That's a good, I can see that. Because
Well, 'cause
at
you
this
remember,
point,
he's
yeah,
still
he don't want to be
military.
like the
Yeah,
other
like,
guys.
He has to have that mentality still.
Yeah.
Like that old school, like stiff upper lip, queen and country. Like
Yeah.
that's his era. Like so, yeah,
Right.
it's like, but that even shows in this because only him and M have that mentality, and it shows when they have their little conversation out there and everything, like in public. I can't remember the scene or all that, but that's basically the tone of it. It's basically like these old war horses and everything against everybody else that doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about all these deaths, or at least a death, a very important death, what do you think of them killing Bond, Felix, and Blofeld all in the same movie?
It was ballsy.
It's honestly, it's fitting.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do that, why not do them all in one? Like, and it's honestly almost done like in like the order of like the importance of character. Like you even look at the progression of it, like because Felix was like his side character and everything, like the connect with the CIA and missions and all that here and there, and then you have like the lifelong rival with Blofeld that gets taken out, and then it's like now your story ends and all that because of like the arc. So I mean, you can kind of see the depth of the progression by importance.
All right, well,
It's a big deal. You know,
yeah.
Yeah,
it should never have been done.
I didn't like.
But, yeah.
I didn't like the way Felix went out.
Yeah.
The Felix one, I think Felix deserved a bigger blaze of glory. In all honesty, like I didn't like that. It was like him just like drowning, slowly sinking into nonsense
Yeah.
and betrayed by like fucking Mormon looking dude and everything. Like
Yeah, that was pretty
that
mean.
that kind of irritated me there, like because like I said, Blofeld was even kind of like an underwhelming death. So if we were gonna get that, and if we got the death that Bond even had, like I would have liked to have seen a bigger like firefight type thing with Felix's, especially like with him being like a CIA operative, like
Yeah.
and within all that, like just getting the scientists and stuff, like there could have been a bigger to do about it, I think.
Yeah, see, he's earned that. I mean, especially
Yeah.
if we go back to Dalton's movie, the dude got bit by a shark and survived.
Yeah.
I mean, the
It
dude's
always
got
goes
some
back to
balls, dude.
Dalton with you.
I'm just saying, the
I'm
dude's
joking.
got some longevity.
Yeah.
He's got some skills. He's got the toughness, and then you just let him drown in this one.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't like the dramatic effect of it.
I feel
Well, his other, I guess, who we'd associate as his closest person in the Craig films, of course, is Vesper, also drowned. It's Felix.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of a similar ending for both
Yeah,
of
well,
them.
it's a very dramatic way. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, you bring up Vesper. What did you think of Bond going back to Vesper's grave?
I think he wore that bitch out. I was tired of him going back here. Like, dude, you just got married. You're in love with this other one, and now you're saying goodbye to this other one that screwed you over 5 movies back again. Again, dude. Like, come on. I understand you were very in love for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
but come on.
Once again, old hat. Yep.
Come on, dude.
Well, I guess since her grave happened to be where they were,
Coincidentally.
which is cool. That happens. It's a lovely grave, by the way.
Convenient writing.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to be too much of a jerk about it. The explosion was really cool.
I love the place. Yeah, fuck, it all had to be made of stone if you're
Yeah.
lighting fires and letting them float into the air and everything.
yeah.
The explosion was, and if you think about it, undoubtedly he got her remains on him
Mm.
I just think
I mean,
the
it-
tinnitus, the
yeah.
concussion you would get from just like
Yeah.
that close, like all the rock and everything. Like,
Mm.
What do you think of them using Vesper's grave as like a trap? Like,
yeah,
you
why
think
not?
that you think they would have guessed that he would go there?
They were watching her. That's the thing. Like they knew. Like yeah.
I feel like that was a long shot.
I feel like so too. I feel like it was
It's
a
a
long
bit
shot.
contrived,
No, well I think it's
but that's okay
yeah.
to some degree.
Well, like I
mean,
said, you gotta
yeah.
just prep because, like I said, it shows that the kid was the one and everything that like showed him to the grave. So it's like obviously like shows that like though they were listening in on him in the room in some way and all that because
Yeah.
like from the very beginning, like they had to have known they had that conversation and had like that's why they made a big to do about her saying like you need to go have closure with her and all that kind of stuff. Like it implies that they were listening in on them even for that bomb to be planted there. And
Yeah.
for the little boy and everything to take him specifically to the grave and be ready, and then for them to even be ready to ambush him in the dam. Like that's what I mean. It's like that's the level of power and control like it implies on that.
Or it's just
Like-
bad writing.
Convenient
I
right
mean,
I'm not
that's
trying to be a
like,
jerk. It's
like
fine.
I
It's all
said, that
entertaining.
too. Like that's,
It's all
but like I said,
entertaining.
to really buy into the storyline and everything, that's the level of power and surveillance you have to buy into them having. Like even to the point of them ripping old boy's eye out and putting another one in there to pretend like he's working for Blofeld to be working for old boy.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's like it's such a deep level of thought that you have to buy into. It is easy to fall out of the storyline and be like, "This is fucking bullshit. What am I watching?" Like, yeah.
I will say about the Vesper grave and then the chase and everything that ensues after that. I did really kind of like the scene where he like is back in the car, the classic Bond car,
Oh my god.
and is,
Yeah.
and is sitting there and not doing anything while she's freaking out. Because I'm just in my head, I'm picturing in his head, he's going, "Are you shitting me? This is fucking happening to me again. This bitch set me up again. Every time I fall in love, this bitch sets me up." Like he is just like, I don't know what to do because all I can think about is I need to kill this bitch. This sitting next to me in the car.
He's
Like
trying to figure out if he can trust, but that was the whole point when old boy even said like she's a child of Spectre and everything like that. Like he's purposely planning that in her head and everything while being
Yeah.
like a double agent for another organization.
And
Like,
that's why it
it's-
was 50-50 when he sent her off on the train.
like yeah, like, I can't see it. Like and
So, how do y'all think? How do you guys like the song?
I have it right here. Not a fan.
Yeah, it was pretty
yeah,
shitty.
yeah.
Probably the worst. I think that's probably the worst song I've heard in a Bond
Because,
movie.
like I said, it was such a cool, like I said, because like even at that point, like you're talking about, like with him walking up to the car and just like you can see like the safety glass coming in and everything, bring that dramatic effect. Then he finally was like, okay, like I believe you. Guns and everything, spins around, smoke, great little car chase, and even like I even love the shot where like the train's going, she's like running, and like he slowly turns and all that. Like it would have been a great time for an awesome song. Like
It would have been. I will say this
Like,
though. I don't
opportunity
agree with
missed.
one thing you just said though. I don't think he started the car back up because he believed her. Because if he believed her, he wouldn't have put her on the train. I think he just decided he didn't want her to
Well,
die.
no, that's why I like. Well, they couldn't be like it's the way I like. He believed her and like you have to leave because now you're going into hiding. We cannot be together. Like there because he probably like he thought it was Spectre at that time. So he's like, Spectre's after me. Like, they will keep coming after you. If you're with me, you have to leave. That's the way I took it.
Hmm. I
Like-
took it as I can't trust you. I can't do this.
Oh,
but I don't want you to die.
Because if not, I think he would have just let her get shot. Because I think it's like with everything, the hotel and everything, stuff there, and even see like the bags are already packed as per like of your wife, like he was still acting under the presumption that it was Spectre doing all of this. Like, and it was just one of those things after he finally believed her, seeing like the fear and everything, because he's like, he could have got away even if one of those bullets would have went through and killed her. So he could have let her get shot and still got away the exact same way. He chose not to because it's like, okay, and that was like the point of like the eye contact and the nod and shit, like, fuck, but like, we can't be together because like if Spectre is after me and they're using you, manipulating like our life, we can't be together.
What do you two think?
Well, I leave it to where it is open to just what you want to
No,
make
Barry,
of it to
say
some
your
degree.
opinion.
I tend to agree more with Alex, but I don't necessarily disagree with you.
See, I'm a sucker for a romance.
I
story.
think that James
Like-
Bond is just, he's not going to look to harm a woman. Now, it may happen where he brings harm to her
I've seen
accidentally in some
I've
way.
seen him smack a bitch.
But-
like,
Well, he's killed some women, but they were bad.
I just like.
But
that.
generally speaking, James Bond doesn't want harm to come to women.
Mm-hmm.
Fair?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like he was 50-50 on the fence, and he wanted to see how it was going to play out because he didn't know, and he was probably still in love. So he just
sure.
well, but that
Oh, he's
was
definitely still in love.
Yeah, and that was like that's why I said we can't be together. The intent is like I said, you're gone now. Like, and that was like when he went just super deep into hiding. Nobody found him again. Like,
Had a mixtape of 80s love songs in his Aston Martin.
what hurts the
So,
most.
what did you guys think of the 5-year time jump after that?
Oh, was it 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
5 years.
I don't know.
Yeah, because that's how old his daughter is. Because James
Yeah, that's
Bond has a
true.
daughter. And that's something you wanted.
well,
I, mean, I didn't notice. I guess.
said that was that's the only reason like I said, for that reveal later on is the only reason the time jump happened in that span.
That's probably how long it took to make the movie anyway.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, I like the establishment of the. I think the setup was all really good. I think the story's fine in a lot of ways. It's just again the big picture plot points that you're supposed to embrace. I just can't, such as James Bond has a daughter. Nothing wrong with having children. I have my own children.
I beg to differ.
Everyone have children, but James Bond is not a man to have
Except
children.
you, James.
You don't put that in a
Like-
I'm sorry, you don't put it in a James Bond movie. Could you imagine if somebody told Sean Connery, for Thunderball, now here's the idea, fella. You're going to have babies and you're going to make pancakes. And no.
So, I know it was a huge deal when the movie came out. I think it's kind of calmed down now that more people have watched the movie. But when it came, excuse me, when it came out, so many people were so pissed off that somebody else was 007.
Oh, I didn't. Care.
And they were also, a lot of people were also upset that it was a woman. But, because I think people were in fear of wokeness, to be honest with you.
Sure.
But I will say this. I don't have a problem with somebody else being 007 because he's been gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, they were going to give his number away.
Yeah, made sense.
I think it makes perfect sense. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I
You're
mean, I
not
didn't
wrong,
care.
but if you remember before the movie came out, that's not really how a lot of those articles spun the movie.
That's true.
Like if you think about if you really think back like before the movie actually released, how they made it sound is that like, and it is kind of what happened is that like like they just they couldn't explain it entirely, so it was like very watered down. But the James Bond isn't 007, which he went into hiding and is no longer 007, and this is the new 007. But they made it seem like that character was going to be your main line almost.
Well, I think they made it seem like I don't think they were really hiding the fact that Bond was going to die. So it was
that-
Bond's going to
that-
die,
yeah.
and this is 007 going forward. But they've now said that what's her name, Lashana Lynch, is not going to play Bond going forward. Like they're recasting Bond as some, so like it's not like she's
What was-
taking over the franchise.
I'm sorry, what was the character's name?
Nomi.
Nomi, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, if they want to make Nomi movies, fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
don't- let's-
cool.
She can't
But,
be James Bond.
They should have
Yeah.
made her a better agent. To be totally honest, she was another shitty agent,
No,
just like that Spanish girl.
No, she is
was
my
alright.
she is my Bond girl.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, the girl.
She was
that does-
dumb.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
she was really good.
Dude, she can shoot back vodka. She's great with a gun. Awesome fighter. Sexy as fuck. Remembered the cigar for Felix and all that.
She was
Played
goofy
that-
as hell, dude.
Paloma.
But
Yeah, the Spanish girl.
The Armas.
She did it on purpose.
She was badass,
She
man.
was goofy as hell half
But
the time.
Come on, I
Well,
thought-
before they went on the mission, she acted helpless. But once
But
shit hit
she
the
even
fan,
said
she
that.
kicked everybody's ass.
Well, he even made that joke to where like 2 weeks, like maybe longer. Like she played down her confidence.
No, she
and all
did.
that.
She acted like she was she was
Yeah.
trying to play like the whole damsel in distress almost.
Oh no! She
And then as
was-
soon as gunfire started, it was like, oh, I'm actually a real agent. I
yeah,
can
no, she
I
is,
fuck shit up.
She is my bond. Yeah, she's by far the hottest woman that we've
Well,
seen. in
yeah,
Craig
she is
series.
pretty smoking, but
Yeah,
I
hot.
don't
Like
know.
this should be Barry's number one Bond girl. Competent as fuck and hot too. Like you get brains and beauty, Barry.
If she was actually in the movie longer, absolutely.
Yeah, I was really disappointed we never saw her again.
Yeah,
I
it's
just-
about-
I thought it was
Yeah,
weird.
good character.
I too
Absolutely.
would like to see more of her. Like just like,
But you can see all of her. I mean, she's in a lot of movies right now, and
she's supposed to be in that ballerina movie, the John Wick thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
she's also the
good for her.
she's also the that really fucked up movie that Ben Affleck made, where
Gone Girl?
no, not Gone Girl.
'Cause
That was
pretty fucked up.
it was fucked up, but
Justice League.
no, where
Yeah,
okay,
that's
the
pretty
premise
fucked
the,
up, too.
the premise of the movie is his character and De Armas's character are married, and she keeps sleeping with other men, and the next day after she sleeps with them, they disappear, and it's because he's killing them. Like he knows she's doing it,
no.
but he's murdering them and putting them in the river. And like my wife watched it, and I was walking in and out of the room as she was
That
watching
sounds
it.
like something
I don't
that
think
she
I
could
watched that
watch.
one. Huh.
Like,
But like what I was saying was, Tom, is you can see all of her if you want because she's all about taking her clothes off and doing sex scenes. So
yeah, but I want to see her naked in a James Bond film. That's different. I want it to be a surprise. I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm gonna do it just to see it. Like that's, I don't know.
Oh, you don't want to be like, oh, open the robe, here's titties?
Yeah, no.
and
I like,
she has eyebrows, Ray.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she is hot in hell, dude. But I was just like, man, half this, I don't know. If she was like a straight agent the whole time, I might have, felt a little bit better about it. But it's like, she goofy as hell at the beginning. I'm like, what
my
the
only
fuck?
disappointment was Bond didn't get with her. That was the thing. I was like, man, this is the girl that Bond needs to get with. Like, this would
But
shake up the
you-
rankings. That's what that's the first thing I thought was like, yeah, like you're lucky you didn't get this one.
But
Bond.
I feel like we all should have known that he was not going to sleep with anybody but Madeline in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, there was a glimmer of hope. 'Cause like she's gone. Like it's been 5 years, bro. Like she's here and all that. And guess what? She's a fan of yours. Like you might as well. Like, come on, low hanging fruit. Like would have
So-
been a fun time.
So this has kind of been my new thing over the last handful of or more movies, but I feel like we saw another first in this movie, but I want to run it by you guys, make sure I'm not forgetting. Is this the first time we saw a plane turn into a submarine?
I believe so.
Ooh. It's a good question.
Now we saw a plane go underwater in Thunderball, but it still was just.
But it was just a plane, yeah, like it filled with water and people died.
It did not transform.
We've seen a car going to submarine.
Yes, we've seen that.
Seen that.
And we saw like
What about in Diamonds on the Oil Rig when Blofeld was in that little capsule thing? Was that once a plane or was that all submarine?
Hmm.
That was a submarine that turned into a plane.
Does that?
different.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean, like, I'm remembering a lot of weird gadgets and shit and everything, but I was
Oh,
like, I don't
Jesus.
know specifically the combination we're going for. Like,
Yeah, you're a submarine that turns into a plane. You can't be a
Yeah.
plane that turns into a submarine.
yeah, like,
Oh, geez, I don't know. That's a good question.
oh well.
fair enough. I thought that was
I
Yeah.
believe it is a first. Absolutely.
But I do got
And it's
this.
pretty cool.
I do have this paragraph I would like to read.
oh, this is gonna be bad.
Okay.
Let's go, Ray.
The new villain really got lucky in life for Madeline in a relationship with the best spy, becoming a psychiatrist and being able to get into the MI6 jail so that you can kill the final member of Spectre. Way to overcomplicate the storytelling for no reason. When all you had to do is just kill him in the last movie or screen in the execution or have Madeline turn into the big villain. Like, is it so crazy to make a maze out of the script? We didn't need Blofeld in the first place.
So let's
So you
ask.
saw a lot of contrivances and just you thought the story was just completely.
Yeah, it was just all over the place for no
Yeah.
reason.
So let me ask this question.
to
then.
argue against that.
Let's ask the question, the obvious question from Ray's paragraph here. If Blofeld was not in the movie, does it change the movie?
You mean if he was in the movie, or if the organization of Spectre didn't exist?
Say that
Oh.
say that they killed Blofeld off screen and somebody took the mantle. Would that change any part of the movie?
Well, no, because there would still be.
As long as her father was still the guy that killed old boy's family, no,
Mhm.
because that's what the whole plot hinges on. Because remember, it's her story.
Mr.
And
White.
yeah, and because Spectre existed, Mr. White existed, and Mr. White killed old boy's family. So that's what the whole thing hinges on. That's what I mean. It's like, do you mean if Blofeld didn't exist at all, or if Spectre didn't exist at all?
No, I'm saying if Blofeld never appeared in this movie, not that he didn't exist. Period.
Yeah,
like
then-
he obviously existed in Spectre, the
Yeah,
movie.
then it wouldn't have mattered.
Right. I think Blofeld is just an extra in this movie.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest mistakes this movie made was not making Blofeld the big baddie. How do you do a we're gonna kill off James Bond movie and not have Blofeld be the one to do it? I don't understand that at all. You had some secondary criminal
But they
who was barely he would be a henchman in a Pierce Brosnan movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, Pierce ain't having that shit. I don't know. I didn't think a lot of Saf.
Because like if you because Blofeld was probably in there 20 minutes. You could take 20 minutes out of this movie, it'd be probably the same movie.
Yeah, it's almost a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. You could have cut
Yeah.
Blofeld out the whole thing.
Yeah, Blofeld's only there to wrap up the James Bond story, like because James Bond is the one that kills him inadvertently.
Yeah.
So it's like James Bond still gets to technically be the one to kill Blofeld and all, and then like because it would have been this weird overhanging thing if you killed Bond still at the end, but knew Blofeld was alive and still like
Yeah,
you
but
know, there's still some
yeah, but I don't want a
nasty shit.
technicality. I want
Yeah,
Bond to
doesn't
actually
wrap it
kill
up.
Yeah.
Right.
Blofeld.
Oh,
Yeah, he did it on accident.
yep.
Yeah,
Like,
unknowing.
And he had no intention of doing it.
No.
You know, like that's I agree. It does kind of take away from the fact that Bond killed him.
Yeah. Well,
I would rather he
it's the
have him
same
on
way
a
with Felix is
helicopter
drowning. Like,
and dump him down a
Yeah.
chimney
yeah, that
in his
that,
wheelchair.
that
That's
was
far
more
better.
But that was more it really
Yeah.
was.
I was
It
more on board.
s-
I was more on board with that.
Absolutely.
It was
Yeah.
more slapstick
Oh,
and
I
cartoon, but
gave
it was
you
more acceptable.
this one is like I gave you a blanket with smallpox. And
Yep.
sorry.
Hey, here you go. Put on a surgical mask. We'll get the boosters out soon.
Yeah. It's a very once again, just like Felix, a very underwhelming death. Like like I said, they didn't give any of these characters like any big blaze of glory going out in any way.
No, it was. I felt like it was disheartening because they showed Blofeld's power right before that. Like he was still running a world-dominating organization from inside the most secure prison on Earth, and was still able to do all these things, fuck up Bond's life, meet with his members, all these things, and then he dies on accident
Right.
while having a simple conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was gonna die regardless. She was supposed to follow through with the plan, but she did her thing. Yeah, then he still died accident. But I mean, like I said, in Blofeld's number 2, like or whatever, you can assume number 2 primo because he was wearing the eye was there. So you could argue like how in control was he? Like because even so, when everybody like even did gas, like Spectre died, not Bond.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and
because
it was all on
Chappin
film.
had-
That it was
yeah.
in his head that he had to like see. So like, you can still argue like, to what degree, like you just say he had power in his world, but even at that, like, you could just die at any minute.
yeah, he had definitely lost control.
Well, it implies that he
what
never.
Staffen was scheming to do
but
and
it,
doing. He had
it
definitely
implies
lost
he never
control.
had control. To have somebody infiltrate you, it's the same way like we keep telling MI6 so incompetent, like to show they never even had control of their own organizations because like multiple times they get broken into from the inside and all that. Your own people are getting infiltrated even through the academy up. Like it's the same thing.
And we saw it with MI6 in this movie too. They had a traitor in their midst.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. It's just like I said, it's just so insidious there you don't see it.
Yep.
I have a question. It's kind of very different than what we were talking about. What do you guys think of? I think the actor's name is Jeffrey Wright as Felix. I don't know how many times we saw him in these movies with Daniel Craig.
I
Maybe
think he's in
4.
3 of the movies. Yeah,
Um,
at least. Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm pretty
good
indifferent
Felix.
toward him. I find him somewhat. I don't like his delivery of lines. Like, it always seems overly tense, and like he's really like squeezing the words out in some weird way. It's kind of odd to watch. It really strikes me. So
guess-
I'm not a huge fan of that, but I know most people seem to like this guy in this role a lot.
I will say this.
Oh,
I like Jeffrey Wright as an actor. I think he does a good job. I do think they changed the relationship between Bond and Felix, which is fine because it's changed multiple times over the course of the Bond series. We've seen different relationships. They're always pals, kind of, but in this, you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but in this Daniel Craig run, it feels like their relationship is purely professional, though.
It does until this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because then, like I said, when he's dying, that's when when he's like mumbling out nonsense and everything, and Craig's like correcting him and all that. Like that's where it shows to where like one of the who's talking about like a shrimp boat and all this shit. He's like, "You're not from Louisiana. What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, and just shit like that.
Yeah.
That's where, or even when they're playing the dice drinking game and everything, and like you can tell they're having their own conversation through subtext while like the Mormon dude's sitting off to the side wanting to be part of it.
Same as
Like,
Logan Ash.
like either way, like, but I
He's
like
the Latter-day Saint.
yeah, I was like anybody who's wearing a white button up and sweating through like that, it's like, come on, dude. Like it's
Well, he's getting ready to try and kill the 2 greatest agents on Earth.
he didn't want
You'd
to
be
kill,
sweating.
He didn't want to kill Bond. He even said he's like, I really liked him. Like he didn't want to do it. Like it wasn't supposed to go down like that.
But I will. I think Jeffrey Wright did all right. I think he did good as.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Felix.
it's bad. Yeah, and I think most people really like him in it. So I think I'm kind of on the outside with that. Ray, what do you think of this guy?
I loved him in the role, actually. Yeah. I thought he fit in pretty good.
I liked him in this one, not the others, but he's still not my Felix.
He's not my favorite Felix. I wouldn't say that, but I think he did a good job.
My favorite is still 80s Felix with the heavy machine guns coming out of the water in that cave
Yeah.
scene. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as you're out,
The
give
one
me
in the Connery that's not an Eon film. Is
Is that it? I think it is. Yeah.
Like,
I think
yeah,
that is
what
the
was
one.
that dang, what's the dang movie called? But yeah,
Oh.
that's my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah,
Never
yeah.
say never again.
Never say never
Yes,
again.
Never
Yeah.
say never again.
Like, that's
You're right. That guy was awesome.
That's my favorite Felix. Like,
Just a
just-
grenade launcher.
yeah, it just comes out hard as just it's America. Like, it's like, yeah, like you did it the British way. Like when you're done, get out of here. I'm gonna blow shit up. Like that's like we got a big budget, and I get rid of it. Like just
Yeah,
That's-
that guy should have gotten more opportunities.
yeah, that's my Felix. Like always will be.
And did you guys notice there was at one point in the staircase or some scene that they had a portrait of the original M up on the wall?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I didn't
I
know.
think they.
Yeah, they did.
Judi
Yeah.
Dench.
Yeah, they had all of them up
Oh,
there.
they had them all.
They had them all.
I
yeah.
remember. I
Got the
noticed the
dense
original one.
Yeah, they had all the M's up on the wall.
That was pretty legit.
Well,
legit.
That's cool.
I
Nice
haven't.
touch.
I have one of those as well. Did you notice that they recreated the gun barrel scene in Safin's little hideout?
Oh yeah.
He's in a circular, like, tubed hallway that has grooves in the wall,
Oh,
and he
cool.
turns and goes like this and shoots a guy.
Wow.
And I was like, I have it written down right here. They just recreated the gun barrel shot in movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice touch.
Yeah, I guess I missed that one.
No, I remember being a little.
I
pissed
think
and
I think I was
everything,
too
saying
fo-
that.
Staffin fired the shot though.
No, Bond did it.
Oh, okay.
No, it was just in Safin's hideout
All right.
thing.
I think I was too focused on when Safin kidnapped the kid and the kid like bit him and he goes, "Hey!"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What a bitch! Shut up!"
It was interesting the way he handled that, though. He didn't hit the kid. He didn't kill the kid. Throw the kid in the water or anything. He was just like, okay, fine, figure it out for yourself, and like
Made no
just leaves her
sense.
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
Made no
yeah.
sense.
But I think that was another callback to where like he didn't kill the little kid either in the beginning.
They didn't have to kill her, but you didn't
No,
also
but-
have to just say like, well, now I know I've been carrying you around all over for a purpose for the last however many hours, but now you seem
But
not to like it as much. So
but
go.
It
weird.
implies a weird ethical code. The same as with the whole nanobots thing and deciding who gets to live or die. to where like, oh, it's survival of the fittest type thing. It's like, fine, like you could have went with me and you would have been saved. You just would have been more or less a slave, but go on and try to survive on your own then.
You know what? I'll buy that.
Like
Yeah.
it's like
I'll buy that.
you literally bit the hand that could have been feeding you for your survival, but
Okay.
fuck off. Like
Yeah. But if he's gonna whine like that, I go find my own food.
yeah, well yeah, and she
He ain't
did,
helping
like,
me out.
Like she did. Like
I don't have any more notes, guys.
Let's see if I got anything else to say here.
oh, I don't really have anything that I haven't touched on it. I don't know until the next one after we like name a new Bond and all that. But I as a whole, I thought it was a decent way to wrap up the Craig series.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not gonna see Craig again. You got rid of him as Bond. What's done is done. Let's name a new one and move on.
So I do have a last paragraph. Well,
Don't Craig it up.
not a last
Like,
paragraph.
it's like we'll use your name as an adjective now. Like
so the female 007 made no sense to even have the 007 status, just to give it up later in the movie. Made no sense to even have that storyline in the movie. The woman 007 should have just turned bad or died to make the 007 thing better. The 007 storyline was just dumb and a waste.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I can see where it kind of felt kind of just pushed in there and it didn't have to be. This may be unpopular when some people hear it, but it's just true. A lot of the Bonds lately, it doesn't feel like Bond's going head to head. Like,
Yeah, that's
with
what
a-
I
with a
wanted.
man.
I wanted him to
And
go.
maybe that's sort of like not a good thing to say. I don't know, but it doesn't like I long for the days of Bond against Trevelyan.
Mono
Yeah.
a mono.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, but like
You know?
none of those types of characters get their fight. Like we just talked about, Felix didn't get his fight. Blofeld didn't get his fight. Bond didn't get his fight.
Yeah.
Like it's they and I think that's like there's a lot of things like that I think are kind of like subliminal in the storyline that like when you look at it as a whole, I think that's why I don't like the movie. Because
Yeah.
like I said, you've taken so much away from so many characters that like it's really hard to swallow it. One is a James Bond film, and then two is just a likable film. Like I said, there's so much of it that you like water down for the sake of like a side character, really, for the
Yeah.
main character to sacrifice for and all. Like it just, eh.
A
So what? Is,
direct- oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was just gonna say a direct, and again, I'm fine with any sort of premise where there's issues between a man or a woman or whatever. It's all fine. But for a James Bond movie, I do kind of long for a more direct feeling of the animosity between men, kind of up close, and it doesn't feel like we've gotten that for a while.
Yeah. There was a little bit of the like in Blofeld's crater compound or whatever. There's a little bit of mano y mano back and forth between Bond and him there, but it never gets physical. It's just like it's a battle of wits, I guess. Like they're kind of going back and forth, but then Blofeld's like, well, like I have an army and you're here by yourself, so I'm gonna torture you. Like it goes, but there is like a couple minutes there where they're like back and forth, and I thought maybe we were gonna get it there, but we didn't. So I have another question though. I just thought about this. What do you think of Q being the one to call in the airstrike that kills Bond?
I don't think Q has that kind of authority.
No.
But he did.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't know. It was whatever at that point, really.
I mean, Bond made a decision to stay there. So, I mean, I'm not saying Q should be sitting around being like, oh, I killed James Bond. It's my fault. Kind of like Moneypenny when she shot him. Like, I feel like she could really take that to heart. I don't know that Q could really take this one to heart because Bond made the decision to stay there. But
No, but also Q, he's not a killer, and like you've seen their friendship kind of like evolve from when they were first like. But it also fits the storyline too, to where like you have the young up and coming like new generation agent, even if he is in tech, like having to off like the old hero and everything in MI6, to where it's like, oh, this is a sacrifice that they called, but I have to carry out because of the honor of it. Like, I like that he had to be the one to do it, because like you said, his character is also one that doesn't want to kill and would not glorify the fact that he had to. Like, if anything, it would be a burden on him that he had to do it. Like, so I like that it was him.
Since we're on the missile point or the nuke point, can somebody explain to me why they kept going back, open the silos, and they close this, and then the silos close, and then they open them again? Like, I didn't understand. Like, the nukes were going to impact regardless and blow something up. I didn't understand that whole point.
Apparently, these things will literally bounce off of those doors.
Yes, that's what they said.
So if the doors are closed, everything's fine. But if the doors are open, then annihilation.
It was the opposite, right? The doors had to be open
Yeah, they
so
had
the
to be
missiles from the planes could go in.
But they were closed at the end, and they were blowing up. That's what I understand. Because the doors were closed, right?
No, I thought Bond opened them again, and then after he was shot, and then like he climbs that ladder and goes
to
up
open
to
them at the very end.
Yeah.
So what doors are we talking about? Because the when he's on top of the building or whatever, the doors are closed there.
I don't think he was where they were aiming. Like, I don't think Bond is standing on the hole where they're trying to shoot through. Like, he's standing in the same complex there.
Right.
But I don't think he's standing, like, exactly where they're trying to shoot.
Oh. Okay.
Because the original explosion where they drop the bombs happens, like 100, 200 yards away, probably. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a great
many
story for it.
missiles.
I know.
Yeah, that scene looked really cool. I'll say that. For
It did. It
I was
did.
just really confused because I figured, if it impacts, it's going to explode.
There's a lot of things in this. Yeah, there's a lot of things in this movie where it's beyond suspension of disbelief, sort of.
You just got to go with it. Huh?
Yeah.
So what did you guys think? The final scene there where they're all standing in M's office. They all say, whatever they say to Bond, to 007, whatever, and they all take a drink, and then M's like, all right, back to work, everybody. And that's how the movie ends, essentially. Like, what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he would have done.
Yeah.
I think it was unnecessary, and it seemed very cheap and like.
Yeah, I can
what
see
do I
that
want
too.
to say? Like late '80s, early '90s cinema. How you wrap something up? Like I did. Like I remember like a lot of cheap B-rated films and everything, just like made straight to DVD type films, to where like it's just a cheap way how to end a storyline, to where it's like. Yeah, to where everybody's just there, and then it's like real quick. Like there was no reason for it, like because it already insists upon itself that his best friends would mourn his death.
Right.
So it's like, what was the purpose of it? And like I said, unless you were gonna like, I don't know. Like it to me, it just seemed colder to show it than to actually not.
I know what you're saying, and here's the movie I'll bring up. You guys ever watch Iron Eagle?
Yeah.
Okay. So they made a second one, right?
Like,
So they made a second one.
Yeah.
And it had the main character, that kid, and then Louis Gossett Jr. Well, they killed the kid off in the first 10 seconds of the second movie.
yes.
What is the point?
But think back to that time period in cinema. Like, they did that a lot to movies. Like
That's because all
not
the
to go-
money went to Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah.
5 more sequels.
Yeah, let's go off on a movie tangent. But yeah, that was kind of like a cinema thing then, and all that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like if there's a sequel, like we're just gonna kill off like a couple main characters that survived the first one or the previous one, like, and we just keep the ball rolling.
Because we would have ride hard of Louis Gossett Jr. for 4 more movies.
Yeah, like you gotta put that contract money back there.
Yeah, I get why they did that at the end. I guess to them it felt like you wrap it up with the people who knew Bond best
Yeah.
gathering, in remembrance of him, even if it's kind of cold. I guess they see that as like, yeah, these people care, but they still have a job to do, and they're
Right.
not going to stand around and cry.
No.
So I don't know. I was kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, boys,
Okay.
should we move on to our rankings?
Let's do it.
Should we wrap this portion up?
Yeah.
What ones we can? Like,
All right, let's do it. That'll wrap up our movie talk and move us into rankings. And the first one is severely disappointing because in body count, we're going to have our first ever 0.
goose egg.
So what are we at?
61 through
61.
26
The
movies.
final count, 61. Good job, Bond.
Yeah.
Maybe that Mormon got to James.
Shut him down.
You never know. Like,
So, yeah. Now we can move into our Bond girl rankings, and we decided last week to wait to rank
Yeah.
Madeline this week.
Yeah.
So 1 through 25 because she's in both movies. So let's Barry, where do you think Madeline should be on the Bond girl rankings?
I'm going to put Madeline pretty high up.
Okay.
Obviously, Madeline. She's an attractive woman, obviously. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Clearly plays a huge role in 2 movies. Definitely more so in this one, Spectre. She felt more, fleshed out, as you say. I'm going to put her at... I'm putting her at 2.
2?
Yeah. No, actually, I changed my mind. I'm putting her at 1.
What, Barry?
Yes.
I
I'm going
Okay.
to request that we use the other picture.
Okay, let me get this other one out of here for
I
you.
think.
I'm taking
Oh.
back, but all right.
Holy crap, Barry! I'm surprised.
I'd say Barry's blinded by the degree.
Blinded by the light.
Well, Ray, where do you want to put her?
I love a psychologist.
Oh
I
God.
need a bitch to tell me how to feel. Like, just
She is. Well, fuck. I don't know. Tom, you go. I'm gonna pull a Tom this week. I don't know.
I'm putting her at 20
Okay.
20.
I was gonna say 13.
because I'm imagining her in a blue 90, and blue 90 still beats her out. It's my ranking system, Barry. Like, it's just like,
Well, Ray,
Very straightforward. It's very straightforward.
I'll put her at 17. I don't think she beats Servine.
I don't either, but I think she beats Pam, and I think she beats Vesper,
What? I think Vespa looks way
and I
better.
think she beats Natalie. But I agree. Severine's way too low.
Yeah.
But I think you were a huge push for that.
I was?
I thought
Yeah.
you were the one that really hated her and wouldn't.
No,
move
I
her
don't
up.
think so. I really was.
I
high
can't
on
remember.
Servine.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but somebody was like, "No, she's not that."
I mean,
I
I could have
blame
been, but
Wade.
I don't think I was.
when in doubt, blame Wade.
Yes.
It's fine.
So now we just need to find a compromise position, huh? So
Are
we had
you-
a 20,
At
20,
one?
17, 13.
And one.
One?
Okay.
It's like Powerball numbers. Like,
So I'm willing to come way
Down?
Down.
Yeah.
you have nowhere else to go but down.
to, I'll come way down to 5, fellas.
Like, I'm willing to come down. Like, there's nowhere to go but down, Barry.
Holy
Like,
I'm a
crap.
giver.
like,
5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
What? Like, what is so?
Yeah,
great
you
about
got to
this
say
woman?
something,
You
Barry.
need
I
to
don't
have a
know what's
counter
going on.
offer.
I need to hear some
Well, I've
reasons.
already said most of it. I mean, I don't think any of us would say she's an ugly woman. She's an attractive
No, she's not
woman.
ugly. Obviously.
no.
And again, I know you guys don't care. Well, I guess that is all I can say to you guys because you only base it on her appearance. So nothing I say matters, right?
Well, I mean,
Now you sound like the women I date.
I mean, you guys are going to tell me to explain my reasoning, and then you're going to say your reasoning has no standing with me.
Exactly like the women I date. I see why you picked her,
so you
Barry.
really. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you say earlier that the fact that she was in 2 movies puts her up the list further?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
think-
she's a major
Well, but-
aspect
yeah, I was
of
gonna say,
two James Bond
I'll
movies.
give you
Oh,
that
because
with-
she's
yeah,
important.
with- yeah, I was say with your
Yeah.
Oh,
with your
okay,
criteria, and the second one, obviously, because the storyline is all about her.
Yeah.
Like the storyline rests upon her being saved in it and all that, and like, yeah. So like, I get your.
Well, let me ask you this though. I mean, Vesper is like in all 5 movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
in some way, I suppose.
In spirit.
at least in spirit. Which I think was disturbed in the first like opening act. Like,
Now, it's also important to remember that I'm basing this on the rankings that we've all agreed to.
Yes, that's
not
true.
where I would place them
oh,
individually.
he had to get that in on the last episode. He had to
Thank
get
you,
that-
Barry.
It's
I
got to be
appreciate
factored in.
that.
that is
Yeah,
okay.
So if you guys have a counter offer, I'm totally willing to hear it.
Yeah, 17.
I mean, I'm willing to go down to 17. I'm not against it.
I
You at times are more reasonable. What do you think?
Are you willing to come up to 17, Tom?
I mean,
Tom had her at 13, right?
yeah. Like,
I'm in shock. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Well, I'd like to resolve this conflict.
all right. Well, yeah. Like I could. What? Where you guys are at 17 and where? 17 and 18.
20,
17 and 13 is where I'm at.
17 and 13. I could. I don't know. I could jump down to 12.
Oh, you son of a bitches.
Why don't we just go to 10 and we'll call it a day?
It's not the end of the world.
I
It's really
immediately went
Yeah,
to the
I've
like,
given a lot over
who's
the
where? Who's
weeks
Barry's
on
pull,
rankings.
Barry's pull. So like, hey,
You need to do that, Ray?
What, the 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, fair
There we
enough.
go.
number 10 is
All
where
right,
lower
let
cut
me go
goes, so
fix
Barry.
this
That
list.
puts her between Goodnight and Romanov, sorry. Tatiana.
Well, she'll still be between
Oh,
Goodnight
yeah.
and Melina.
Melina Havelock, sorry, yeah.
No, that's all right.
You're right. Yep. All right, that's our final Bond girl list, guys.
Yeah.
Final Bond girl list. Solitaire holds on at number 1.
Not gonna lie, if Bond would have
Maybe we can go back someday and revisit just as one episode the Bond girls.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that.
That would be fun.
I would
to do.
love that.
So, just maybe just something to keep in mind.
Everybody, Madeline's at 10. I'm not going to do the graphic.
All right.
She's right there. Somehow. I don't even know.
Fair enough. All
pretty
right, gentlemen,
shocker.
let's move into our most important rankings, the movies themselves. And Barry, let's see if you're going to surprise us again. What do you got? Barry's like, number 1.
Based on this list, which is not my list.
Oh, shit.
Get it all
I'll
out,
leave it
Barry.
where
It's
it's
the last
at. I'll
one,
leave
buddy.
it right where it's at.
26?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I'm with you.
No
Let
way.
me say that's with no. I don't hate this movie. It's fine in many ways, but it's a bit of a mess. So 26 is fine.
I don't count it as a Bond
And
film.
they killed James Bond.
I don't count it as a Bond film.
Are we doing this right now?
Yes, because I agree.
Wow.
Are we going to 26?
Well, you're outvoted. If not, it's like apparently Ray's on our side. So
Alex had it at 4.
No, I didn't. I didn't have.
not your list.
It is. It's that bad. It's past Moonraker.
I mean, I will say this: we did sit here and say a lot of negative things during
Well,
our.
no, but I think we teased out a lot of we teased out why there's a lot. It's like it wasn't like it was like. I think we could have stomached any one or two things and everything, but like I said, the totality of the whole film.
Yes.
Because if you listen to each of us talk, we all don't like it for a very distinct, different reason. So it's almost like it's not like one big over like in your face thing and all that somebody can argue. Like if you actually have the words and know what you just saw, you can make an articulate argument why you don't like it.
There are a lot of things to dislike about this movie. There is Safin. There is Safin killing Bond. There is the way Bond kills Blofeld. You guys found Felix's death very unsatisfying. There's Billie Eilish whisper singing in the beginning.
The whole, and not even that. The whole recording of the song.
nanobots. Sorry, Ray, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, that's,
See, this is where everybody just get it
I
out
had
now.
about 7 or 8 things already. I'm good. That said, I
The
didn't.
family man aspect.
Yeah.
That said, I didn't hate the movie.
But like I said, it was death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
That's what it really was. Because like I said, any one of these things, like if Felix would have just had the underwhelming death, but the others would have been Blaze of Glory, would have been stomachable and all that. Or like if you,
Stomachable.
Yeah.
That was the advertising for this movie.
yeah, like you
Time to die.
you won't,
Stomachable.
yeah, you won't leave nauseous. Like,
I can't believe we just did this.
So you are in agreement on 26?
I'm down with it. I'm down with
What
it.
was your vote before anybody said
yeah,
anything?
like for real.
I was gonna go 23,
Okay.
but when you all three went 26, I'm like, I can drop 3 spots. I can drop 3 spots.
All right.
Um,
That's really funny.
Well,
And
that's another reason why earlier
I
said
say
it
God
gave me,
bless Moonraker.
Well, that's why I said earlier it gave me Moonraker vibes.
Yeah.
It's just like yeah. That is funny though.
All
But
right.
yeah, that is one that's all of our lists right there. That's
Yeah.
at least 26.
That's the most
Unanimous.
agreement we've ever had.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
That's crazy.
See, we're united by hate. Like, it's like,
No, we're united by stomachable.
yeah, yeah, just like fucking hell.
All right. Well, that will wrap up our final Bond movie episode. There will be some B-sides to follow, and there will be a Bond wrap up where we will discuss our whole Bond adventure. So look forward to that. Before we move on to Rocky, we have a 6-movie adventure, not 26, with old Rocky.
Thank goodness.
Flying high now.
Bro,
And,
and that song for so long.
We appreciate you tuning in to Blockbuster Bums.